Okay, guys, so here's the deal. Now, I'm starting this video. As you know, we are going to answer questions for people who call into the law firm's phone number, the 407-279-1754. Now, the whole point of this is that people will call in with Social Security disability questions. That's supplemental security income questions and Social Security disability insurance questions. Now, with a quick heads up, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm super tired tonight. So we're going to try and keep phone calls to around 3 to 4 minutes. The first thing you've got to open up with is what your legal question is. I'm going to type over here into the chat area, essentially what the phone number is that you call to go ahead and have me pick it up. But remember, when you call that number, you have to use a fake name. It's super duper crucial that you use a fake name. And also, open with your legal question. No story time. Everybody always likes to go into mass story time. We had last time around 300 something calls of people calling in, which was not doable in the sense of being able to go ahead and answer them all in that short period of time. So I have stuff on my phone that I'm going to try and restrict some of the calls and try and reduce some of the calls. We'll see if it works and then kind of go from there. All right, so I'm going to bring up the program now. That way we can begin the process. And cool. All right. So now it's open, guys. If you want to call in, you can go ahead and call in, begin the process. I see we're still getting some stragglers in, and then we'll go from there. Okay. Now, also, I'm giving you two options as per the usual. You either go ahead and have me answer a question, or I go ahead and answer our run hearing questions with you. Running hearing questions takes longer, so we're only going to do a couple of them to get you on board. Okay. I might have put too many filters on this phone because now it's not showing anybody calling in. Oh, hold on. We'll just call this one since this person called in right before I started the show. All right, here we go, guys. Let's see if we can get this going. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions with you?
Yes, I have a specific question. I did apply for SSDI.
Okay.
And it turned out that I didn't have enough credits.
Okay.
And they went back to 2009 to 2018 where they said that I had the credits. And I filed, I was denied, and then I went to a hearing with the judge, I guess. And then after that, he said that I was going to be waiting for okay, I'm sorry. I had someone that was helping me out and put an appeal. And then and I was told at the end of that hearing that I needed to wait for 18 months. And it's been a year. The hearing was last June. Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering if I could send additional information because I'm a veteran. Also, I'm 100% for PTSD.
Sure.
But I did have recently I've been diagnosed with emphysema, COPD, and sinusitis. And if I could send this additional information, would that help my case? Even though this happens after I was just recently diagnosed with those three conditions,
sure.
Past 2018.
So the way it works is when you go to appeals counsel, you've already had your quasi trial, which was essentially your hearing with the administrative law judge. When you appeal to appeals counsel, you're appealing to basically AAJs, which are appellate administrative judges. And those appeal judges at that point are supposed to look at the evidence that's in the file and use the pre-hearing evidence, or if the judge left the record open for an additional amount of time for some evidence to be submitted, to also include that additional evidence into the record. With that said, you can submit whatever you want, but that does not mean that they have to consider that evidence, as a part of the adjudication. What usually happens is that people will submit a whole bunch of evidence, but they will not consider it as part of their appeals counsel review because they don't have to. And then also, you're looking at essentially either an approval, denial, or a remand. Denials and remands are what usually happens with appeals counsel, because the appeals counsel judges want to go ahead and send it back to the administrative law judge to fix something that the judge, the ALJ, the one that you had that trial/hearing with, where the judge will have to fix something from that original hearing. So yeah, you can go ahead and submit it to your heart's content, but it does not mean that they have to go ahead and consider that evidence.
Oh, okay. One of the stumbling blocks that I guess that and I want to see give me your view. At that point, during those years I was suffering from hepatitis C. I was extremely weak. I was missing a lot of time from work.
Sure.
But then when I went to the doctor who was treating me and eventually helped me cure myself from hepatitis C, he didn't have the records anymore, because they said that the records are only kept for 7 years. So it was basically my word against, even though I had evidence and it says that I had it, but no, I didn't substantiate the fact that during those years that they're looking for, those 10 years that I had the credits, I had the illness. So I don't know if he's going to consider that on the appeal, or is that going to work against me, or I told the judge, I don't, please don't hold that against me, because I don't have the evidence to provide, because the doctors are not required to keep the documents past 7 years, and they shouldn't hold that against me.
What you got to keep in mind is that the judges are looking back 3, potentially 4 years, usually from when the person files. So something beyond 7 years is not of particular interest, unless it's like a VA situation where the veteran's trying to prove attachment to some service-related connection, with what happened while they were serving. But in this case, civilian marketplace, they're just going to go ahead and look within the past 3 to 4 years at the relevant time. So whatever your filing date was, or whatever your alleged onset date was, that's what they're looking for. So if you don't have evidence going way, way back, to 8, 9, 10 years, that's fine. They're not looking for that. What they're looking for is recent medical issues. And those recent medical issues are essentially not, allowing you to work as a result of them being severe. So the judge won't hold that necessarily against you. I mean, any evidence is always potentially helpful, but they're really looking for evidence that's recent. That's why so many people get in trouble, because they get in this, and they have this wrong idea that if they run up the bill at the hospitals, that they'll just screw up their life, once they're found disabled. But what they don't realize is that Medicare and Medicaid usually negotiate a deal with whatever medical facilities are there to pay off their debt while they were basically waiting for disability benefits. So as a result of that, a lot of people, when judges hear these people go like, "Oh, I didn't want to spend money, I don't have insurance, blah, blah, blah," the judge is sitting there going, "Well, if it was really that severe, you should have been in the emergency room." But in your case, with this type of situation, if people are relying on evidence from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that is a very, very, very bad sign in the civilian disability marketplace for SSI or SSDI benefits.
And now, what would be the next step if, in case they deny me again? I will have to start all over again, or what would be the deal?
So some of the attorneys aren't certified to do that stuff in the disability field. I'm certified to take the next level up. Some attorneys are. But bottom line is, once you get a denial at the appeals counsel level, you have completed the full SSA docket. Like all the stages the SSI is in charge of, you've completed those. Then at that point, you file a federal claim against the commissioner of the Social Security Administration at the district court level. And it's District Circuit Supreme Court of the United States. At the district court level, it's a very, very different experience. And you are less involved at that point in the sense of, adding more things. Because remember, that's all about adjudicating a claim that happened. It's about the evidence that's already in there. And so as a result of that, you're not showing up for the really big courtroom stuff. You're not part of the more detailed appellate level briefs. You're just kind of like hanging in there. And then also once you finish the Social Security Appeals Council docket, right? You get a denial AC. Once you file that claim into district court, at the federal level, you can then go ahead and file a new claim with the Social Security Administration. Then you have two claims basically seeking disability benefits. One is a new initial filing, classic initial disability filing. The other one is a federal lawsuit against the commissioner of the Social Security Administration, in which case she has attorneys that will basically go head to head with your attorneys. And of course, pretty much everybody for the most part has attorneys at the hearing, appeals counsel, and then anything above, obviously, district court, circuit court, Supreme Court, you almost always have an attorney because you have to write briefs, submit briefs, etc.
And would you take that case?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look at it. So here's the rule. For big box firms, I don't usually take those claims because there's a lot of instances, I'm not putting anybody's name out there, where they don't obtain the medical records. And, you kind of go back and forth, and like a lot of them will be missing, or there'll be problems that can't be fixed, or things that were supposed to be submitted pre-hearing or post-hearing. Like, sometimes I can't get medical records, and then we request an open record from the judge. Then everybody has to call this medical facility to bitch them out. Ultimately, though, sometimes you have to have the SSA resend an 827, and if that doesn't work, go ahead and send out a subpoena bind through the judge. If they don't send the records, then they got to, then it's a federal charge. So kind of the bottom line with this situation is, I know the firms that I trust enough to take those claims from, but a lot of the big box firms I absolutely won't. I don't even look at them because it's just a waste of time, because there's usually some problem in it that I'm restricted from fixing. So even if I got a remand with it, I'd still be stuck with that problem. And a lot of people don't realize with law, law is kind of like you can take steps and they are not editable. You know what I mean? You can't edit what you did down the line and make it fit better. You can't make it work better. When you screw something up in law, it's like you lost the ticket to get on the bus, or lost the ticket while you're sitting on, the tram, or whatever, because as a result of that, you just, it's a major screw up because you can't go back and fix it. That's one of the, I think we lost the person. All right. We were talking to him for a while. I'm going to go ahead and take the next phone call. Let me go ahead and see what's on here. Here we go. Here we go. Perfect. I don't know what happened to that call, but that's okay. We were on the phone with him for a while. Let's see what we got. Here we go. So anyways, good sir, what I'm going to do is, I'm not sure what happened with the phone there, but I'm going to take another caller. But yeah, so anyways, no worries. But that's I can always take a look at the claim, but you're going to have to collect the initial ALJ denial. Actually, what you would do is you get a copy of your exhibit disc from the OHO. Exhibit disc is basically where they just email you all of your exhibits. And then I would need a copy of what you submitted for appeals counsel, your brief. And then I could kind of see what the arguments were intended originally. All right. You there? All right, we're going to take this next call. Here we go. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions? And please remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Go ahead. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. All right, let's try another call. Here we go. Speaker on. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions with you? And remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Go ahead. Hello, hello. Something might be going on, guys. So here's the deal. I heard some big lightning there. And hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. It's Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions? And remember to use a fake name. Go ahead.
I got a specific question.
Okay. Just remember, it's a little tough to hear you, so make sure I'm not on speakerphone and you're talking directly into the phone. Go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It's about the SGA and working while receiving SSDI.
Okay, but ask me. Go ahead, because remember we're on a clock here. We got to get this going pretty quickly. So go ahead.
All right, what is the SGA at the moment?
So 2023 SGA is, I always forget it. Hold on. It's $1,400 and something. $1,470.
$70. All right. Do I need to notify Social Security that I'm going to work?
Yeah, if you intend to work and you're going to begin working, then yeah, you would notify the SSA of, what's going on, notify them what your earnings are and things like that, for sure. Yeah.
The branch office.
Yep, you could let the field office know. Yeah, that's fine. They'll set you up with an app on your phone too, where you can go ahead and report income.
Okay. Man, that's all I can think of right now.
Perfect.
Well, thank you very much.
Absolutely good, sir. You have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions with you? Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Hi, my name is Sharon. I spoke to you a couple of months ago. No, I don't want to have you answer any questions, but I was the one that called in and told you about the overpayment. And I told you that they were doing a paper case on me, and that it was my third appeal. But I wanted to give you good news.
Oh, good.
I won.
Good.
I
Excellent.
won the appeal.
Excellent.
It's going to be sent back to the administrative law judge. I won on all points, and I was the one that told you that they actually calculated my benefits using another Social Security number.
Oh, wow.
So they ruled in my favor.
Excellent. 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 Very good. I'm always really pleased to hear that, because just, dealing with it, it feels like you're just kind of like mailing stuff off to a dead letterbox, and then poof, you get a decision. And
right.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but I'm always pleased to hear that, because, sometimes it can feel like when you're dealing with appeals counsel that it's just like nobody's there, or when they send back their denials, sometimes the denials are usually just these miserable, like sad, like, a couple short paragraphs and done. Like, we thought about it, we didn't like it, we don't agree, but this is good.
This one was 3 pages. This one was 3
Good.
pages long, and the first counsel who approved the first one, all of a sudden I see there's another one on there with him. So 2 people approved it together for me.
Yeah, they're putting mostly 2 AAJ judges on each decision, which is excellent. Yeah.
But I want to thank you so much for your advice.
Absolutely. Well, Madame, you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And
I will call you when I get the administrative law judge decision.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, that's excellent. I'll catch you a little bit later, and congratulations.
Okay, and I hope you feel better. You look good.
Thank you, Madame. Thank you. Oh, you have a wonderful night.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions with you?
Yes, wonderful. Hi, Mr. Walter.
Howdy, good sir.
My name is Paul, and I am currently on Social Security income.
Okay.
And I just wanted to share something I'm a little apprehensive about.
Sure.
And that is, the other day, on the spur of the moment, I decided to buy a collectible. And I have made a purchase from the U.S. Mint.
Okay.
And they now have me set up on a 4-month plan to finish paying it off. And they've already now sent me that collectible. So now I'm really nervous, like I might have caused myself some big problems.
Well, why would that be a problem?
Well, because are we on Social Security income? Are you not allowed to invest?
So are you on supplemental security income or Social Security disability insurance? Because you're saying income, but people use it interchangeably.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not very smart, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's SSI.
Okay. So with SSI, you got a $2,000 resource limit. So the problem is, you've just created essentially notification to the United States government by buying something from the United States government of worth. How much is this thing worth?
The coin came to $653.
All right. So do you have other assets that total more than $1,400?
No, just what I have in my savings account.
Okay. What's in the savings account?
I've got a little over 800.
All right. So you're not there. I mean, you got to have, to be over at $1,400 plus a $600 coin.
Well, I am every time they give me their money now.
Yeah, but you got, well, no, remember the money they give you, the immediate sense is the idea to spend it. But if you're like saving it over and over every month, I mean, are you expecting next month to have, over $1,400 in your bank account?
No, because I definitely, when I can, if I see it's going to go over, I get it out and stuff. That's how I was able to save up for the down payment for this and stuff.
Okay.
But, every time that monthly check comes in, I will instantly be over. And that's what has me worried.
Okay.
I still have to pay my bills and stuff, but my bills are always basically from about the 21st to the 27th. So technically for a few weeks there, I will be over every month for now the past 4 months.
They do give you a little leeway on receipt of benefits. So it's not like
Okay.
what you're thinking is like, oh no, for that time, they do give you leeway on that. But what's important to remember is, okay, so you know how you bought a $600 coin and they were selling you on this coin? You're like, oh, this is so cool. The whole point of that coin is that it's going to go up in worth over time. And the other point of this is that the government dictates what the worth of that coin kind of is to some degree, other than the market. I mean, the government also has a hand in it. So just be careful.
Face value.
Yeah.
Face value, it's only a $10 coin.
Yeah, but this is a rare coin for some reason, right?
Yeah.
So remember, rare stuff is going way up because people with lots of money are collecting heavily because they know if they put money into that stuff, that's like, better than a stock or a bond right now because it retains its value.
That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah. So bottom line, though, is be careful with that because, if something happens or, so many of those coins get burned up and you have, one of the only remaining 20 of them or whatever, all of a sudden that coin shoots up in immense worth and the government is fully aware of what you just purchased and made payments on.
Yeah, I know. The whole time, I waited to win my case, I never told them about, the 1,000 comic books I've had since I was a little boy in the 80s, because I know they would have been like, heck, I have number 1 and number 3 from Wolverine.
Whoa.
Those alone are well into the 20,000s, but I made a point, no matter how hard a time I fall on, those are for my son one day, you know what I mean? And so I keep that to myself, but when I bought this coin, I was like, uh-oh, they're going to definitely know about that coin.
So, okay, yeah. So, those comics, depending on what quality, they're in, what's the rating of quality, yada, yada. But the point is, be careful with the comics thing, because if you've got originals, you're sitting on, you're sitting on house money right there. So, okay. So just, what you might want to do is, and see, the problem now is that if you create a document transferring the ownership of those to your son, then you have essentially created a legal document explaining that you had them to begin with. Yeah, it's like a catch-22.
Oh, gosh. I didn't think about that.
So that's, how old is your son, by the way?
He's turning 18 in May.
Okay, so young enough to appreciate them, but not young enough to take possession of them appropriately.
Not full responsibility, exactly.
Right.
I told him he'll get them when I die.
Okay. All right. So, all right. But bottom line is this, the coin, in my opinion, you should sell that thing and basically get rid of it and then have some sort of, notations, documentation that you sold it, which you can always send into the government. That way it's off your ledger, because the last thing you want is to have something that you bought from the government that is of value, that the government is in quasi control over its worth.
Yeah, and I kind of knew better, but when I was talking to the guy, he was just like, oh, there'll be no trouble. He's like, it's just going from one agency to the other agency. How could they have a problem with that? But I knew better.
I have a question. Why did you choose a coin?
Because I live under a rock, good sir, and I just learned about something called a silver eagle. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, of course. I had a couple of those until I had a boat habit.
Oh.
Let me tell you.
I had no idea. I never heard of the thing, and it was given to me when I got out of the ER and stuff as a gift from my neighbor.
Sure.
And I was like, wow. And he's like, now don't lose that. He says, that one right there is from 1986. He said, it's very, very valuable. I was like, really?
Yeah.
And as I started looking it up, I started learning the history of precious metals and stuff.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I'm a hoarder. You know, I have massive amounts of things. I have multiple storage units that no one ever knows about and stuff. I mean, I was homeless for 12 years, but I never, ever had to dig into my storage units. You know,
Sure.
OCD at the end of the game has always been something that's been a saving grace for me.
Yeah.
You know? Anyways, how do you think I can purchase more coins under the radar?
Oh, man, that I can't answer that. I mean, like, I'm an attorney. I can't
Okay.
guide
I
you
understand.
live on YouTube how to.
Right.
That would be a no-no. that would
Right.
be a whoops. I cannot advise you of how to create an investment pool look, man, let's be honest here. If you're good at buying and selling and collecting or whatever, the potential of you opening a store and doing that stuff is always there, even if it's just an online store. But
Yeah.
and I
can
can't
easily have a store. But I'm a collector.
I can't advise you of doing stuff, but what I've seen a lot of people do, and I do not advise you of doing this, is that a lot of people will take a family member, put the store and business in their name, and then handle transactional disbursement of the assets through that other person. But once again, I cannot advise
which
that.
is relatively easy to do, but me personally, I know I can't go that route because of the extensive collection I have. It has to be much more further removed from myself.
Oh, it would have to be somebody other than you. It would have to be a family member, and it would have to be, I mean, look, it's if you got Wolverines, I mean, you have house money right there. I mean,
yeah, I got Wolverines. I got Fantastic Four. I got X Factor. Hell, people have never even heard the word X Factor.
That's incredible. That's incredible, man. I mean,
not to mention the ones that I really weren't into that people saved for me, like Punisher. It was a little bit too violent for me, and I have lots of Punisher comics that my sister's boyfriend's like, he loves comics. Give them to him because I'm a collector. Be like, I'll put it away with everything else, and lo and behold, I got all kinds of titles I would not normally have.
I mean, look, I have some comics up in New Jersey on the farm that I don't even know what they're worth, but I know some of them are rare. But man, it's just be careful with that stuff, because, and that's the thing too, is that comic books, that's stupid big money. Like, people don't realize how quick, and that's all under the table cash right there. You post something on some place, somebody's going to find you. That's like a rare Rolex, or like a rare, microphone or something, or like some historic.
It's like my Japanese Psycho I wear. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, like that. People will find you to obtain that. Like that was like during COVID, I had to almost sell my Rolex because, shit was bad and I had to pay the employees. And, I'll tell you this, man, when I posted that thing online, I never actually had to ultimately, but, when I posted,
I'm sorry you had to.
Oh, well, it was close. It was very close. It was up on the websites and everything. Man, let me tell you, every realtor, every personal injury attorney, every mall guy who owned a store in the mall was showing up at my front door saying, "Hey, can I see it?" And yeah, man, yeah, disability, and that's one of the tough things that I always hate to talk about. But the disability law has not always been very kind to me financially. So. But anyways, man, you take care of that
but
stuff.
You do love it. You do love it though, right?
I do. I mean, I'd still do it because I love doing it and I know it well. And I've got immense experience in it, but,
Can I ask you a personal question?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
What are your aspirations?
To be more financially responsible. And the reason why is that living to 37 years old, always in this state of, do I have enough money? What are my credit cards doing? How am I going to pay them down? Living like that is very miserable, And I feel like that's why I have such a big connection with the disabled, because, the disabled live in a very similar type of world. Like, I have to spend significantly more than they do because the law firm has to pay a lot of money to buy records and do this. But the amount of money that comes in, like, I'd say like 1/3 of the claims that we win for SSI beneficiaries, we end up losing money on. We win them, but we lose money on them because it's just, there's not enough money from them. My buddy hired me, and this happened recently. My buddy hired me to win his benefits. So I won his benefits, and the check for his SSI claim was $23 to the law firm. So, it was just like, and I had done, I don't know, maybe 30 phone calls with him, argued, all these special I-2-1-40 subsection allowances for expedited claims, and then special, terminal illness-based certifications, and all that. I'd done all that stuff. And then $23, we lost thousands on that one. And so, kind of the bottom line is my goal in 2023, 2024 is to become more financially responsible, and also to reappreciate, and then I think this is important, the accomplishments that I have done. I picked up the guitar the other day, I tuned it, and then basically my dogs ran over and were just having a fit because they wanted to have treats or steak or whatever. So I put it back down. But one of my goals is to get back to music, to pick up the guitar and actually play it. And then once I get this house done next door, that'll be a huge financial burden off my back, and that'll be rented. But it's to be a little bit more financially, I guess you could say it's smart, savvy, just more aware, because I look online and I see a lot of my buddies, a lot of my friends on
Howdy.
Facebook. Yeah, the Facebook friends, and they all have, they got nice shit. They got really nice shit, really, really nice stuff. And they're all happy, and they're not worried about money, and they all have, beautiful spouses. And, I don't think, that's another thing too. Like they're all having kids, and I assume they're happy, because having a kid is a lot of responsibility, but they all have kids. And I think from my perspective, I'm kind of ready for that next stage in life. But I will be very direct and honest with you. Waking up and working nonstop every day, including the weekends, is not conducive towards achieving that happiness. And I'll be very direct.
There's no openings.
Yeah, there's no openings.
There's no openings for somebody.
Yeah, there's no openings. There's no time. So, and then to also on top of that, be financially dissatisfied with like the trajectory. There's no reason I should have student loans anymore. There's no reason that I should have even, with the success of owning a law firm for 10 years, even a mortgage. Like my buddies, they don't have any of that. So, from my perspective, I think I've just been, I think this industry has been very good to me through its people and very bad to me through the government. And as a result of that, it's just tough. It's tough. But Leanne, super thank you.
Fair.
Yeah, Leanne.
People like yourself should be the ones that reward the most.
Well, I mean, and that's the problem, is that there's not enough money in this system purely because they spend the money on stupid crap. Now, I'm not saying Ukraine is that terrible, but when you are literally financing a pension in part and we are the largest funder of Ukraine by multiple times, but when you are funding the pensions of those people, but you cannot get enough employees at the SSA to handle the disbursement of funds and callbacks for status updates, like, you got to sit back and think to yourself, who did this? Because, if you look at Commissioner Kijikazi, she's sitting there trying, and remember, like, think about this for a moment. Just think about this. You work your entire life in a government agency, right? You work your way up, you work your way up, you work your way up, you work your way up. You get into one of those middle upper executive positions, right? And then a president comes along and says, I pick you, right? And then you take over, and you can't do all the stuff you want to do to improve. Yeah, it's a cluster bleep. I mean, they're losing 1,000 employees a month. Just break that down. That is 200.
The thing is, she's going to be their fall guy, which is so fucking wrong. Excuse my language.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I look at this situation, I think to myself, like, look, this inflation messed everything up, and we're never going back down again. It doesn't work that way. And so, we've got this missed opportunity. Like after World War II, we were like at the best place as a country we could be against all these other foreign nations and stuff like that. And then we lost that lead. We lost it. And other countries, they worked hard, they fought hard, they played tricks, they stole stuff, they did underhanded crap, but they took the lead on certain things. And so from my perspective, just across the board, financially, this country is going in a very wrong direction. And I just want to point out, sometimes I say to people through this channel, there is a world where retirement could be 55 years old. There is that world. It exists out there. There is a world.
The Chinese get it early, right?
Yeah, the Chinese are much earlier, but they're trying to switch it, and they'll switch it to whatever, because the Chinese people have no control over what the government's going to do with it. But remember, it's usually they can retire earlier if they're blue collar based labor, and then of course female blue collar can retire the earliest. But the point is, like, yeah, man, like that's, you got to understand, like there is a world where every single American gets a check every single month, whether they're disabled or not. Why is that? Well, because look at Ukraine. We funded that. We funded pensions for each and every individual. We subsidized that country's people to go ahead and exist on the backs of the American people, which makes you then think, okay, why didn't we do that for Americans? And you know what the sad thing is? And the economists always tell me the same thing. You give poor people money, they spend it, it throws the whole thing out of whack. And I got to tell you, if we can't figure out how to fix poor people spending money to the benefit of the poor people being able to afford things and our economy still working, well, that just means those rich people have found a way to screw us over. Because,
keep doing on.
If you have rich people constantly pushing forward the agenda that if you give poor people too much money, they'll throw the whole thing out of whack. Well, then how the hell is it in a good place right now if they're the ones controlling and saving massive amounts that other people can't tap into? I mean, shit, man. When did eggs become something that people had to fight to be able to obtain because of their price? Bacon is now out of sight.
I had to give it up. I had to give up the bacon.
I'll never give up bacon. I'll never do it.
I got the same too, but I've had to give it up. Now it's like a once a week or once a month treat.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do that too, because, you can't eat tons of bacon all the time. But, and I've been buying these chuck steaks from Walmart, and I put them in this little Ninja grill that I have. It's just absolutely amazing, and the dogs love it. But anyways, man, I gotta take the next callers, because what happens is So, but I will catch you later. You have a wonderful, wonderful night. I appreciate your time. Thank you, good sir. Thank you. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, guys, I just want to say a super thank you to Leanne, who donated $20. Real quick, who is Leanne? Leanne has been with this channel before I was anybody. Literally, like, if you go back like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever years, there was a time when nobody, and I'll call this person back, there was a time when nobody really cared about the channel. And yes, I made stupid videos where I was recording like how things work in my car. I had a microphone mounted to a thing in my car, and I would record them to my phone, which was hooked up to the AC vent on one of those little phone clips. And yes, the videos sucked. And yes, they were stupid. And yes, whatever. But the point is, still good information. The point is, she was there going back to the era where like nobody gave a damn. And so I Leanne, whenever I see her comments, I always try to comment back. So I really do appreciate, especially when she makes donation, it's a huge thing. It's a huge, big thing. I want to thank, It's That Time, $2 donation. Can CDI, VW text message, emails, or listen to phone calls? All right. So I'm going to do a video on that. I had a call from somebody who knows somebody who used to do and be on the CDI unit investigation board for their state or their unit or whatever. And I had a long conversation with him about how that works. I asked him to reach out to that gentleman to see if he'd be willing to come on the show, or at least give me answers to questions that I can read to you from him. And the quick answer is I'm not sure if I can actually answer that. I have to legally look up essentially what I can say specifically to what he told me. So I'll have to answer that on another show. But we may get lucky, and we may get an individual who used to work for the CDI units to actually come on the show, or at least give me answers to questions that I can read on the show. Because the problem is, I asked him, and those voice coders where it's like it makes your voice sound different, they can decode those in no time at all. Let me get this next call real quick. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. We are live. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to go, or would you like me to answer or run some hearing questions with you? Go ahead.
Oh, okay. How you doing?
Very good. Very good.
I already had hearing,
Uh-huh.
and I was just wondering how long does this decision usually take?
Yeah. So did you have all of is your record complete? Like all the medical evidence was submitted?
Yes.
All right. So 3 to 4 months. However, did the judge say anything to you like, oh, okay, I'll help you out, or I'll try to help your client out, or, you'll have a decision shortly in the mail? Did the judge say anything like that?
No.
Okay, so 3 to 4 months. You're going to say 3 to 4 months. You get it in the mail. It'll either come in 3 flavors: unfavorable, partially favorable, or fully favorable. Unfavorable, no bueno. Partially favorable is an okay bueno. It just means they're moving your alleged onset date. And then fully favorable is the super bueno. That's the really good one. That means they're going with the alleged onset date that you chose and then basically approving you from that date forward.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. I will catch you.
Thank you.
Thank you, good sir. Have a wonderful night.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we are doing well. It's 9:52. I started super late, so I'm still feeling okay. Here we go. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions with you? Go ahead.
Specific question, please.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay, my name is Brandon. I just had my hearing earlier this week, and I would say thank you for all the content you put out. I was scouring your videos for like 6 months to make sure I was prepared, and I think I was prepared. Oddly enough, that the law judge never really asked me any trick questions or anything. It was pretty straightforward and actually fairly short. My question, actually I had 2, so if you don't want to answer both, that's fine. Pick your choice. But the questions about, like the vocational expert, she gave 2 scenarios. The first one didn't really have like any of my limitations in there. The second one did. So the first one, the vocational expert said, yes, there is a job. The second one, she said, no, there's no jobs that he could do. And then the attorney asked, well, if he had to sit up or stand up, sit down every half hour to get comfortable, would he be able to do it? And the vocational person said no. So is that, I know you weren't there, so you can't, specifically have like detailed knowledge, but is that generally a good thing?
Okay, so one of the big things that people get wrong about the vocational expert analysis, and I keep forgetting, I got to call, and I had a meeting with a vocational expert too recently, like a week ago, for like 3 hours, where I was just, anyways, the point is, I got to get them on to talk about how their side of it works. But the bottom line is this: we, the attorneys, will always ask questions that equate to a work preclusive scenario. So when the judge comes out and says, are there any jobs in the national economy that this person could do? And they're like, yeah, they could do this job, this job, this job. That right there is a hypothetical that it could equate to a denial, because the judge has that as an option to choose. If the judge comes out with another hypothetical and says, well, let's limit the claimant further. Let's say the claimant can only work for 4 hours a day with the allowable, 15-minute, 30-minute, 15-minute breaks that they normally get during an 8-hour workday. Would that be work preclusive? Yes. Okay, let's say that the claimant was having to be constantly reminded how to adapt, change, and modify their work habits based off of prior training that they had. Would that be a work preclusive environment? Yes, that would be a work preclusive environment. No jobs available in the national economy. When you hear that, we are setting the table with additional options that the judge can choose to go ahead and basically, say, hey, he's denied, or hey, he's approved for a vocational allowance. But the judge still retains essentially the right to pick the other hypotheticals where there were jobs in the national economy that you could do. What you want to listen for is if the judge basically does the following. The judge will ask, are there any past relevant work jobs that hypothetical person could potentially do nowadays based on the record, based on the hypothetical they give? If they say yes, it's a denial. But if they continue their analysis into step 5 of the 5 steps sequential process and say, okay, what if we limit the person? They're limited. Are there any other jobs in the national economy? Yes, there's these jobs. And what if we further limit? Would any of these jobs still be available? Yes, there's not these 2 jobs, but this other job still remains, because they usually give 3 jobs. And then the judge hands it over to the attorney. that means that the judge is leaning towards a denial because the judge found with both hypotheticals that you potentially could work your past relevant work and also could potentially work other jobs in the national economy. So element 4 and element 5, the judge has two options to deny you and handed it off to the disability attorney without creating a hypothetical that there's no jobs in the national economy that you could work. So if the judge proffered 0 scenarios where it was work preclusive, that's leaning more towards a denial than not.
Okay, like I said, she offered 2, and neither one did she ever mention national economy. The first, it was just if I could do anything in the past work. And like I said, the first one was yes. The second one was no. And then as soon as the question was asked if you had to stand up, sit down, and the answer was no. So I don't know. I guess we'll see on that one. My second one was just in case. So like the other thing that I was being told about was what the effective date would be. And this is the kind of more specific question that I don't know and I haven't been able to find information on. I was in the military, and I was diagnosed with MS, lost some of my vision with optic neuritis, and I was taken off all, like, you cannot do any military thing. You cannot wear equipment, like nothing. You can do nothing. You can't even sit in a vehicle. You can do nothing. And so the question, I guess, is when would the effective date be? The date when I was given the profile telling me I can no longer do any military service until I get medically retired? Or would it be the date where I got out because I was still getting a check even though I was not allowed to do anything?
So that's a really, really epically large question for a lot of reasons. What you're talking about is, okay, you have to pick a date that is before your date last insured. And then once you've picked out a date that's before the date last insured, it has to medically show that you were severely impaired during that time and then continuously thereafter. You got to have evidence thereafter. You can't also have been receiving income that would, be countable against SGA, element 1 SGA, substantial gainful activity, $1,470 per month. You can't also have been receiving income during that time because, and remember, some things are non-countable income, but you can't be receiving income because during that time, you have to be able to show that you would be unable to work at that level above SGA. So you earn $1,470, you're not disabled. You earn under that, there's the potential of you being disabled. So I don't know what your date last insured is. I don't know what your in and out military dates or when you stopped, having income directly from, the military. I don't know what those are. But the way I do it is I have a big chart. I throw it all up on the chart. And then basically I look at it and figure out what's the best date. But how old are you currently?
I am 42.
Okay. So age is not going to matter. You're not going to shoot for a 50 or 55 page break. You're going to be shooting for essentially when the medical evidence proves that you were severely impaired. That is a date before your date last insured.
Okay, that's what I was leaning on, but I wasn't sure because, like I said, the military, you can't just quit and they can't just kick you out without the administrative process going through.
Right.
So I was still getting paid even though I was not allowed to do anything. So it was like I didn't know where to try to pinpoint what point should be that point of if it were to get approved, where the back pay should be. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
So here's the thing too, you got to keep in mind, when you left the military, how much time elapsed before you had your 100%?
The day I got out,
all right.
Or the next day of my retirement date.
All right. So you got to factor that in. Were you a TDIU or a PNT?
PNT.
All right. So
100% PNT.
Okay. So I'm assuming you had an attorney, correct?
Correct.
All right. So wait, so you already had your hearing, right?
Correct.
Did your attorney discuss with you the date that would be chosen?
He gave like options because the law judge had asked about that.
Yeah.
And so they were asking for forms from the military that could say when the military told me to stop performing my duties.
Right.
And that was when the question came up, is it the profile that they issued me right after my diagnosis that took me off all duties, showing that you are not allowed to do any of these things anymore? Would that be, so that was the kind of the question, or is it when I got out of the military because I was still getting paid? So it was kind of unclear. So I'm trying to dig up those records to send in because they left it open for 2 weeks, but I'm not sure what I'm trying to provide or trying to prove.
Yeah, but that's not going to. Okay, so I'm guessing your attorney gave options, but I'm going to be very direct with you. The judge left the time open for the attorney to go figure it out, but the judge already knew, because the judge wouldn't have made this mistake, that basically this is just a financial game situation. What were your earnings per month? The most important thing you can hand that attorney are your pay stubs, which basically state, hey, on this month I earned this much, on this month I earned this much. That attorney is then going to pick the month after the last month you received accountable income that was over SGA, and that's going to ultimately be your SGA. It's not going to be a whole shenanigans game of like when they told you couldn't work and blah, 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 because you were still getting paid after that. If you're getting paid after that and you were in the military, you were getting paid over SGA. If you're getting paid over SGA, you're not disabled. So it's all going to be about what was the last month that you had countable income, and then they're going to pick the month after that month to be your, alleged onset date. They'll amend your alleged onset date to that date. He'll submit it to the judge in a motion format, and then the judge will basically go ahead and review. But it's not going to be a thing about when they gave you your rating. It's going to be a thing about money.
Okay, gotcha. So the form that the judge said to get, should I still get it just because she asked for it?
Oh yeah, get the form, because the judge is going to want to see how far back you got your P&T, which tells you that the attorney didn't collect your VA records from that time period, which is not a good sign. But the point is this: you need to make sure you submit your pay stubs, because that is the most important thing that the judge is going to need.
Okay, roger that.
Yeah, perfect.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate your help so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Good, sir. You have a wonderful, wonderful night.
You too, sir. Take care. Don't stay up too late.
I promise. I'll catch you later. Thank you so much. Right, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
So I was up super late last night because, when you work all the time, you kind of get to a point where you're like, I have to have some me time. I think women call it spa day, but men, it's video game day. So I bought, I don't know, a year ago. I bought this thing. It's a Nintendo, and they had the vintage Ninja Turtle game on it. Oh God, I lost an hour playing that thing. Anyways, I put it aside, but I didn't fall asleep when I should. All right, here we go. Next call. Here we go. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Would you like me to go ahead and run hearing questions with you, or would you like me to answer a question? Yay, that phone call went fast. That's good. There are 17 missed calls. That the phone, I think the phone is doing an okay job with like filtering out calls right now, which I think is good. I'm not even going to touch the phone because somebody else will. There you go. Okay. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. Remember to use a fake name. Would you like me to answer a question or run a hearing questions with you? Go ahead.
Hello, Walter. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Been trying to get through.
Oh, gotcha.
Now, my question is that I became disabled. I applied in 08. I finally got it in 12. Both of my kids were getting, benefits with mine until they turned 18.
Yep.
Now, my daughter had a severe scoliosis problem and had surgery in 2017. It put her behind in school. Okay. She was receiving benefits until her 18th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at that point, they stopped her payments, even though she was still in school because they had held her back, from the surgery and recovery and all that. And at this point, she's 21, but I can't take care of her, anymore. And I heard you say last week that if somebody, a child was getting benefits and then stopped, and then they are disabled, then they could apply up till their 22, their 22nd birthday.
So here's the thing. You got a couple of things going on here. I just want to do a quick call out to these gentlemen. Philip Price, $19.99 donation, and Ryshock 4, basically a looks like a CZK 20 donation. Really cool. I just want to say thank you to those individuals real quick. What you need to worry about with this claim for her is that basically she gets filed and try to attach to the original denial date at 18. Because what happened to her is they switched her over to the adult, adjudication. They adjudicated her to be not disabled under the rules and regulations. And then as a result of that, what happens is they lose their benefits. But if she is between 18 and 22 or close to 18 and 22, like 23, or maybe even just turning 24, she should be going on to SSI. And then if you are on disability benefits as well, she should be tapping into DAC, Disabled Adult Child Benefits, which is like a Title II version that lets her tap into your benefits, but it doesn't reduce your benefits in any way. So in that regard, you need both SSI Title 16 and DAC Title II, Disabled Adult Child Benefits, for her. So she's got to file for both of those.
Okay, the DAC would be Title II?
Yeah, DAC is your Title II because it taps into kind of the trust funds related to money you've paid in through your life. So, depending on how much you paid in, she can, add a little bit on top of that 914 that should be getting through SSI.
Okay. And I'm disabled, so I can't take her to Social Security to apply. Now, they say they can be done online. Is there any quicker or better way to do it online?
So actually, no, you can't do SSI benefits online. All right. So the way I file people, because I usually concurrently file them for SSI and SSDI benefits, is I send them the forms, they fill them out, and then we go over the answers. That's my way of crossing T's, dotting I's, making sure everything's cool to go. But bottom line is this, she can always call them and have them file her over the phone, but just make sure she's aware that she has to answer questions like she's talking to the cops. Nothing extra, nothing special. Watch what she says. And she needs both SSI and DAC filing.
Do you think that she should have an attorney to represent her?
I think everybody should have an attorney because, to be honest with you, we don't make that much from these claims. That's A. B, to call us up and then ask us a question and go a different direction as a result of it is think of it this way. The more and more I think about it, I think of it like, you remember when you would play video games as a kid and then you get that cheat book and the cheat book would tell you where to get stuff and then you would use that stuff to do better? Or
Always.
Yeah, always. That's like what the attorneys are for disability. Like, there's no secrets and magical stuff. We just know what the law is, which seems a little magical, but it's not. It's just, okay, so what industry were you in? Like, give me your background. What but not specifics, but like, what industry were you in?
I was in sales and I had 2 corporations and, lots of salespeople. It was very successful until I became disabled. And I started having problems in 2000, had surgery in 2008. Surgery went bad, applied, and took me 4 years. Now, I tried to do it without an attorney to start, but then I had to get an attorney to finally, get it in 2012, which was retroactive.
Yeah.
Back to 2008.
I mean,
so I was in sales and had corporations, and I was successful.
So until the surgery. Yeah. And I
started work when I was 14. I paid in lots and lots.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, here's what I would get at. Salespeople know better than anybody else on earth that what you say, the way you say it, the way you communicate it is incredibly important, because you have to leave somebody with desire in their eyes, with a gift in their hands, and an expectation that they could have a better life if they go ahead and give a little now for something better, bigger down the line. And I got to tell you, man, the best salesmen I've ever met were actually criminal drug dealers. They really were. They were the best salesmen. That, and of course, those time sale people. Those timeshare people, god damn. I had a guy try to sell me on an office space one time that was a timeshare guy. It was magic. It was friggin' magic. I've never seen somebody schmooze that well. Blew my mind. But the point is, so attorneys aren't really great salesmen in that sense. Attorneys actually tend to be crappy negotiators, but attorneys know the law, so they know when to file things. They know what you need to obtain from the record. They know, what you basically have to get to push it through. And the best way I explain it to younger people is, like if you're playing a video game and you have to jump up and grab a coin, it's the same thing with law. You're just jumping up to grab the coins that you need to go ahead and pay out at the end of it so that they give you what you need. And, but yeah, I mean, look, I think everybody should get an attorney, but at the same time, I'm at that point in my life and I've represented enough people, and I represent enough people right now that I ain't spending the time to sell somebody on it. Like when somebody calls me up and they don't know who oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say last week I left my information. I don't know, who screens your, calls and all that, but I left my information, and I guess you can see my number now. I just won't give out my name, but I would like to, explore that.
Oh yeah. Was it an
I'm
email
not
or?
be able to, I'm not going. No, I called and left a message on the phone trying to get a hold of you last Thursday.
If
I can send you an email. What's your email address?
So here's the deal. If somebody calls on Thursday after 5, we automatically don't check those because it's just people calling for the show usually. And there's hundreds. There's no way to like, yeah, but basically, yeah. So just give me a call tomorrow and one of the staff members will grab it, or I'll be there and I'll grab it. I only have one big thing going on tomorrow, which is that they're doing the 4-point inspection with the wind mitigation. So like, I don't know, that's at like 12 noon, maybe 3 p.m. I don't know when it's going to be, but when that happens, I'm going to pop out. But, just give me a call tomorrow. We'll go through the claim. We'll get you rolling. You'll be good to go. But yeah, just for everybody else watching the show right now, if you call at any point from 5 p.m. on Thursday until basically like, 8 to 9 a.m. the next day, we just normally don't grab those calls because there are people calling because they were watching the YouTube channel and they're like trying to get on the YouTube channel even though it's already ended,
I can understand that.
Yeah. But yeah, man, no worries. Just give me a call tomorrow. We'll catch up, go through the claim details. Just make sure when she's present that she knows what her top 5 most severe impairments are, what her medications are. And then the academia thing, people at that age group, the thing that always hurts their claim the most is that if they're close to graduating and then they do graduate, that's used as direct evidence to show that they have the capacity to go get a job, because what's the purpose of education but to get a higher paying job,
Well, she was at a point where she couldn't finish school because they held her back from the surgery and the recovery. Mm-hmm. She had to have, keys to go up and down the elevator while she was there. And then, when she turned 18, she couldn't deal with it anymore. She was, it was holding her back. So with her being behind and all the disabilities she had, she just went ahead and quit. And that's when they stopped her, the money she was getting from my disability.
Gotcha. We'll go through the fact pattern tomorrow. No worries. Just give me a call and we'll go through. Yeah. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Also know about the other parent. But then again, you said you worked since you were 14. So you're probably going to be the breadwinner with the most potential Title II payout to her. So we'll go through it tomorrow. No worries, good sir. I will catch you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you. I love your show.
Thank you, good sir. Have a wonderful night. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. This is going to be, that was going to be the last call and then it hung up. You know what happens sometimes is that people keep calling over and over and over again to try and get through. And then when I answer, they don't realize it. And they're like smashing that recall button. But anyways, here we go. Let's do this. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Remember to mute your computer as well. Would you like me to answer a specific question or would you like me to run a hearing question with you? What is going on? What is going on? They might have tried to mute their phone and then hit the button. That's happened to people too. They'll call me the next day and be like, you don't understand. You answered the call and didn't answer my question because I hung up on you. I was like, we're just going to let the phone... all right, there we go. Here we go. One last call. Here we go. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. We are live on YouTube. Would you like me to answer a specific question or would you like me to run hearing questions with you? What is going on? What is going on? Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Now, would you like me to answer a specific question or would you like me to go ahead and run hearing questions with you? Go ahead.
I have a couple of questions for you.
Sure, go ahead.
Hello?
Yep, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, Walter.
Hi.
I have a question. I was just approved for SSDI.
Sure.
And also, they said something about waiting for being approved from my local office, like SSI.
Okay.
And I don't understand Oh boy, I hear myself. I'm going to turn myself down here.
Oh, on the mute button. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, it said something on there that I was going to get $4.76, and I've been washing, or no.
I can barely hear you.
Like,
yeah.
It said that I was going to get like $4.37 or something, and then I was supposed to hear back from SSI. And they said something about having to pay $160 for Medicare.
Yep.
And I don't understand that because they're saying I was covered in April, and then it'll be mid-May before I receive the first check. I haven't heard anything from them yet or got a letter.
Okay.
I do have an attorney, but I don't understand. It only covers Part A and Part B, and then that would be taken out of my benefits, so I wouldn't get a full amount between SSI and SSDI.
Okay, so the way it works is this. You're getting what's called a concurrent allowance. That's where SSDI benefits are less than like $1,000. So they use SSI to supplement it a bit. So what happens is, since you didn't work and pay into the system that much, as a result of that, you're getting a smaller traditional disability check. They're going to use SSI to supplement that to get you up over $900. So you're going to get 400 and something of SSDI and then whatever's remaining of SSI. Now, what will happen is your Medicare, you're going to buy into that. You're going to have to pay, for Medicare like everybody else does on a monthly basis, but you'll automatically for free get Medicaid, but you're not going to use Medicaid because you get Medicare. So bottom line is, you'll have to pay a bit towards Medicare, and essentially that will reduce your benefits, but it's your SSI will boost it up to around $900.
Okay, and then what about the medical assistance or the MA that I was currently on and paying all my medical bills?
So essentially, I don't know what what program you were on, what benefits you're receiving. Was it Fed-based? Was it state-based? Was it county-based? But you'd have to see essentially if they're going to, I'm assuming it was a free setup where you were receiving some, and was it state-based or federal?
I was on state through the county, Minnesota. They switched it over to MA, and then my worker had asked me if I was applying for disability, and I told her yes. And then I had to sign a piece of paper, so any benefits I received or help through the county, I would have to pay that back.
Mm-hmm.
And all this time, I've been on medical assistance through the state.
Which state?
So, Minnesota.
Okay. So, and I guess what I would say is this. Remember, not every state has that. So bottom line is this. It sounds like you're almost like on a state-based, like LTD style. They give you a check each month. They give you some health insurance style, system. Yeah. So, if you have to pay it back, they're going to suck up a lot of your back pay. And then basically what will happen is they'll transition you off of that onto the federal system.
Well, I know I have to pay back the cash part, which is a couple $100. Originally, I applied for benefits back in October of 2021.
Sure.
And then they denied me last May or June due to lack of medical evidence. And they had plenty, but it's just that some of my providers didn't provide all the documentation.
Okay.
So then I went and got an attorney, and he submitted it in July, and now they went back to age 50, which was a year ago. So they're going back a year and putting me under the age 50, and I found out that I had a lot of vascular artery disease, and now I got to go and get stents and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And it's pretty scary, but I've been having a lot of issues with that. My one other question I've tried asking you on, like, typing to you.
Okay.
Say a person gets an inheritance through their parents at a later date down the road, let's say I'm before retirement, as I told you, I'm 51. So it's going to be a while. And I have many medical issues. The vascular stuff is the biggest one, and heart stuff. But
it's so hard to hear you. Am I on speakerphone?
no, you're not.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Is it now?
No, it's just really tough to hear. It's like very like it's just very like muddled. Like I'm having to like try and pick out. Yeah.
Yep. So okay, I'm gonna holler louder. Is that better?
That's better. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Let's say I receive an inheritance from my mother in 5 or 10 years down the road.
Okay.
And it's a rather large inheritance. And let's say I'm receiving the SSDI and the SSI. Would that affect my benefits either way, being I'm still disabled?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, for the SSI, it's going to hurt you more because you can't have over $2,000. If what's in what you're inheriting, something that's accountable income, then, basically you have to watch out for the SGA. You also have to watch out for essentially the resource limit, but it's going to hurt you more so with the SSI stuff because it might make you ineligible for those SSI benefits for a certain number of months for you to go ahead and spend down that inheritance, or you could just not spend it. Yeah.
But it may not affect the SSDI.
It might for a month. So the problem is everybody always asks me this question of how will my inheritance affect my SSDI benefits? And the problem that I always run into with this question is that everybody assumes that it's like a house, or everybody assumes that's like a car. Sometimes it's a business that has income coming in every month. Sometimes it's stocks that are becoming payable, or this or that. And then it becomes a more complex question as to whether or not it's income. So you take each item that you inherit, you go to Google, you type in, is this a countable income for Social Security disability benefits? And you type it in and then just read on Google whether or not that particular thing is a countable income or if it's a non-countable type of income. And then, basically for SSI and SSDI benefits, the worst that's going to happen to you with SSDI benefits for the most part is you might lose 1 month, right? Because, you might be over SGA when you first get it, and then you can change how you receive it so it won't hurt you. But for SSI, if it's over 2,000.
I think it would be upon surpassing a family member. It would be a large amount of stock, and then, of course, siblings. I have siblings. So, like any personal property and stuff like that is, figured out, distributed that way. But the stocks, I think most of that is non-taxable income that's in the stock. So anything that would come out of there would have to be paid tax on, I think, with inheritance. I would still have to pay the tax on that. I'll let you answer that, and then I have a follow-up on that stock. A question on receiving money from a family member. Like, you can gift a family member money out of your personal money in stocks, and that affects her a different way with her Social Security and stuff and whatever. However, but she can gift money, but would that affect my disability or my
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna have to do this with a different phone, because here's the thing. And somebody just posted that it sounds like you're kind of like talking like through a pillow, and that's what.
Let me see if this is the problem. Did that help?
Talk a little bit. Go ahead.
Did that help?
I mean, it sounds more clear, but I don't know. Like,
I think what's happening is I'm getting like news breaks, advertisements, and stuff. So if my mother were to gift me money, the amount of money you're allowed to give to each child a year, and it were to be to something like put toward a medical bill of mine, would that count against me if she gifted it to pay a medical bill?
So she's gifting you funds with the sole purpose to be used for the payment of a medical treatment, correct?
Yes, like dental or something, yeah.
So, I mean, what form is the payment? Is the payment something that's being converted from something?
Well, that's just it. She'd have to take it out of her stocks, which is non-tax money, which the money has to be taxed on, whatever the tax bracket is for her on that. And then, you know, I think it would be around $12,000, I think, that I could get from her, or $15,000 to put toward dental.
This sounds
And I know
non-countable. Yeah, this sounds like a non-countable
Huh?
because it sounds like a gift, and it sounds like a conversion from one asset to another to then be used for a specific purpose as stated in the will. And then, of course, you have to take taxes out of it. But that sounds like a gifted amount. This is going to hurt your SSI benefits, but I don't think it's going to hurt your SSDI.
SSI and SSDI?
No, I think it's only going to hurt.
Used.
No, it's only going to hurt your SSI for the most part. But remember, this is a hypothetical. Every time you guys give me these, like, I'm going to inherit this question, I always get frustrated because, like, there's always some weird little thing that's left out that changes the entire equation as to whether or not it's countable. So, I mean, let's assume that she leaves you stock. The stock is sold with the purpose to be converted into actual cash value, which is then taxed, and then you use it within the, trustees, disbursement towards paying off these medical bills. My question to you is, why don't you have your insurance go and pay off these medical bills and work a deal? Like, usually Medicare and Medicaid will step in to negotiate.
Well, I want to get some future dental work done.
Okay.
And my mom has stock, and she could give me money as her child. Okay.
Yeah.
As one of her children. There's a certain amount she can give. The money's been non-taxed. That's in her stock. It's never been taxable earned money that's in her stock. However, anything she takes out, she has to pay tax on whatever she takes out in her tax bracket. Totally different situation, but she can gift me money as a child, which I understand that'll affect me as, is it going to affect SSI or is it going to affect the DI part? Or if she straight out pays a medical bill for me out of her stock, which she can, would that affect me?
Man, that was the worst way to frame a question I've heard all day. I have no idea.
I'm sorry.
And you got to keep in mind too, it's like 10:30. But so look, I've heard three options there. Number one, she dispersed these funds to you prior to her passing, so it's a gift. Number two, she disperses them as part of a trust. Number three, she disperses them as part of a will. They're not going to hurt your SSDI benefits, and if they do, it's only 1 month of a bang hit to them. From what I'm hearing, I don't think it's going to even be that. But for the SSI, yeah, that amount, you're definitely going to be over the resource limit of $2,000. Now, if they legislate, like Biden has been talking about, to increase it to $10K, then just, play the numbers game. But the bottom line is this, it'll wipe out your SSI until you do a proper spend down. But if you spend it on getting your teeth worked on, then you're good because you have a direct, spend down. Like, you can show exactly what you spent the money on. So you won't have a problem.
It was on medical.
Well, whether it's medical or not, it's, you have a direct, you have a link, a receipt showing what you spent it on, as opposed to a lot of my clients who spend it on booze and women. So, which is always like,
I paid attention to what you said the other day on your channel.
Sure.
About somebody called you up and said something about saving money aside, taking cash out, and then they have a lot of money, and then they all of a sudden they go out and buy a car or big purchase with the title, and then SSI is like, hey, where'd you get all this money from? That's how I understood you saying it to that male that called in.
Yeah. You just have to be careful with, chain of title of the cash, because they're going to be looking at that going like, where did it magically go? I had one claimant, famous claimant, who inherited a bunch of money and then basically spent it on, illegal drugs, a truck that he would go and take other homeless people around to different corners, and then he would take a percentage of whatever they earned from, panhandling. Just incredible gentleman, a CEO of the homeless, if you will. But so basically, you should be okay for the SSI. But with that said, I'm going to pop off because it's 10:30. But you
Can
have.
I ask you one more question?
Sure,
Walter?
sure.
Will marriage affect me?
For SSI, yeah, absolutely. SSDI, it's not going to affect you, but SSI, yeah, they'll do a deeming exercise to see what the husband is earning. They'll basically look at how he's assisting you. They'll have a marriage penalty if he's also receiving SSI benefits. Yeah, absolutely. Marriage will affect you.
Okay, he's a couple years older than me. He's working, he's self-employed. But if I were to get married in the future, and he's not going to retire for another 9 years, so his retirement age,
Okay.
at least 9, 10, 11 years. Would that affect me? Because I believe marriage is important with my relationship with God. And we've been together a very long time. And people tell me you can get penalized or lose your benefits if you're disabled and you get married. Is that true?
For SSI, yes. For SSDI, no.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know, Walter. You are awesome.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much.
Absolutely. You have a wonderful, wonderful night.
All right, and I'll keep watching you. You keep doing what you're doing. You're awesome.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. So actually, that's gonna be our last call. Oh my goodness, we're just gonna put this thing over here for now. Oh no, it's vibrating. All right, so here's the thing. Awesome, we did it. We got through it. Wow, spirit fingers. All right, so with that said, I just want to thank everybody for partaking in the show. I would look over and start to laugh in my head at some of the comments you guys would put, and then I'd have to like keep a serious face, which is probably one of the hardest things about the show. It's not actually taking rapid fire calls. It's reading your comments and not giggling like super hardcore. But anyways, I love your comments. They're super good. Thank you, Deb Carter, for the heads up. I did use your phrasing there. But anyways, also super thank you to those guys who donated because, I'm trying to finish up this whole house thing, which just seems like the never ending dragon of just deadaroo. It's just ridiculously. But once that puppy's all done, I'm going to be very, very happy. It's just been incredible, but incredibly horrible. And then the other thing I'm actually like really worried about is I don't know if you guys like saw Melbourne. Melbourne had like literally popsicles, giant, baseball sized hail coming down, which doesn't make sense. It's April and it's Florida. So what's going on? So I'm actually worried about like that happening to the roof over there, which, essentially I've already done a bunch of work on and I don't want to have to do a bunch of extra work on, because when you throw baseballs at a, 3/8 inch plywood roof, you're going to end up with some problems. So anyways, I will catch you guys a little bit later. You have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. And please take care of yourself. Please be safe. And we have some really cool videos coming out in the not too distant future. And we will go from there. I'll catch you later. Thank you so much. Have fun. All right, guys. I'll catch you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.